I ask all guests and visitors to please retire behind the rail. If the members will take their seat, we'll get started. Would like to say before we start, if you have a cell phone or any other electronic device that makes noise, will you please turn it off or turn it on silent? Thank you very much for your cooperation. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Sister Ann Provost of the Sisters of Mercy. She is here today as the guest of Councilman Greenlee. I would ask all guests, members, and visitors to please rise.
God of power and might, wisdom and justice, through you, authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted, and judgment is decreed. Assist with your spirit of counsel and fortitude our mayor and city council members and other government leaders of these United States. May they always seek the ways of righteousness, justice, and mercy. Grant that they may be enabled by your powerful protection to lead our city and country with honesty and integrity. God of all life and creation, guide their work today, that they may see the story of humanity in a new way, that they may understand our world and its possibilities, and that they may choose life for themselves and for all whom they serve. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next order of business is the approval of the journal, the meeting of Thursday, June 22nd, 2017, and the chair recognizes Councilman Greenlee.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, June 22nd, 2017 be approved.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly second that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, June 22nd, 2017 stand approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the journal is approved. The next order of business is request for leaves of absence, and the chair recognizes Councilman Heenan.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the majority, there are no requests of leave of absence.
Chair thanks the gentleman, and the chair now recognizes Councilman O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Republicans, there are no requests for leave of absence.
Chair thanks the gentleman. At this time, I would like to dispense with the regular order of business, and I would like to thank everyone who has taken time out of their busy day to come down to witness their government in action. We hope that your stay here today is a pleasurable one, but more importantly, a knowledgeable one. Again, thank you so much for your participation. There are no presentations today. I know that my colleagues are not excited about that, but we will have a relatively short session. The next order of business is communications, and the chair requests that the Sergeant of Arms deliver the messages from the mayor to the chief clerk. Mr. Decker, please read those messages.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, pursuant to Sections 4604 and 2307 of the Home Rule Charter, I am today transmitting to the Council the recommendation of the City Planning Commission on the following bills. Bill number 170512 and 170675. And I am pleased to advise you that on June 22, June 27, July 11, and September 12, 2017, I signed the remaining bills that were passed by Council on June 15, 2017, except Bill number 170519. And that on June 27, June 28, July 5, July 11, August 1, August 29, and September 12, 2017, I signed all the bills that were passed by Council at a session on June 22nd, passed by Council at a session on June 22nd, 2017, except Bill number
Mr. Decker, hold on. Folks, I ask you all to keep your voices down, please. Can't hear the test.
which were passed by Council at its session on June 22, 2017, except Bill number 170595. And I am transmitting for the consideration of your honorable body a resolution approving the redevelopment contract of the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority for the redevelopment and urban renewal of a portion of the Germantown redevelopment area identified by house number and street address as 5820 through 5824 Germantown Avenue, and a resolution authorizing an agreement between the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority and the city for the PRA to act as the city's agent for the redevelopment of 400 North Broad Street and 1501 North Callowhill Street, and a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of certain properties located in the 5th Councilmanic District, and a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of certain properties located in the 5th Councilmanic District, and a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of certain properties located in the 5th Councilmanic District, and a resolution approving the reappointment of Rashia Johnson to the Philadelphia Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Rate Board, and a resolution appointing Drew Murray to the Board of Directors of the Center City District, and an ordinance authorizing the plotting upon City Plan Numbers 146 and 271 of 2 rights-of-way for sewer and drainage purposes, and the striking from said city plans and abandoning of all or portions of 4 other rights-of-way for various utility purposes, all lying within the area southeast of Delaware Avenue and northeast of Ellen Street, and an ordinance authorizing and directing the changing of the name of Convention Avenue from Health Sciences Drive to South Street to Health Sciences Drive, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. You have any additional communication?
I have none, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The next order of business is the introduction of bills and resolutions, and the chair recognizes Councilwoman Reynolds Brown.
Good morning, Mr. President. I offer today 1 bill and 2 resolutions, one of which was co-signed by all members of Philadelphia City Council, and I'll be specific to say the Amazon resolution was co-sponsored by all members of Philadelphia City Council.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
An ordinance amending Title 21 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Miscellaneous by adding a new chapter 21-3000 entitled Environmental Justice Reporting to establish standards for studying and reporting on environmental justice.
Refer to committee.
And a privilege resolution recognizing National Drive Electric Week 2017 in the city of Philadelphia.
And that will be on this week's final passage calendar.
And a resolution encouraging Amazon to choose the city of Philadelphia as a future home of HQ2.
And that will be on this week's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I introduce 7 resolutions, 6 non-privileged and 1 privileged.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
A privilege resolution calling for the City Council Committee on Streets and Services to hold hearings investigating the feasibility of opening the outer lanes of the Benjamin Franklin Parkway to install more flags and increase the number of countries that are represented.
This week's final passage calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fees simple title to serve city on lots of pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 46th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to certain city-owned lots and pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 27th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to certain city-owned lots or pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 51st Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to certain city-owned lots or pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 6th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution expressing support for House Bill 922 and Senate Bill 1156 currently pending in the United States Congress, with the hope that such legislation will be able to increase private investment in the rehabilitation of public school buildings for the benefit of Philadelphia children.
And that will be on next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution calling on the United States Congress to fight hunger in Philadelphia by opposing any efforts to block grants, reduce funding, or structurally change the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and oppose efforts to cut other federally funded nutrition programs.
Next week's calendar. And the chair recognizes Councilman Greenlee.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your behalf, I offer 2 bills and 4 resolutions.
Thank you, Councilman.
An ordinance authorizing 2601 Pennsylvania Avenue Condo Association to install and maintain a sign encroachment at 2601 Pennsylvania Avenue.
For the committee.
And an ordinance amending Chapter 16600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Redevelopment Proposals and Contracts by further providing with respect to requirements for council's approval of redevelopment proposals and redevelopment contracts submitted to council for approval under the provisions of the Urban Redevelopment Law.
For the committee.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of certain properties located in the 5th Councilmanic District.
And that will be on next week's final passage calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of certain properties located in the 5th Councilmanic District.
And that will be on next week's final passage calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing an agreement between the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority and the city for the PRA to act as the city's agent for the redevelopment of 400 North Broad Street and 1501 North Callahill Street.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of certain properties located in the 5th Councilmanic District.
Next week's calendar. And the chair recognizes Councilman Heenan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I have 1 bill and 1 privileged resolution.
Thank you, Councilman.
An ordinance amending Chapter 10700 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Refuse and Littering by further amending Section 10719 entitled Penalties to conform with legislation recently enacted by the General Assembly.
Refer to committee.
And a privilege resolution honoring the 230th anniversary of the signing of the United States Constitution and recognizing September 17th as Constitution Day in the city of Philadelphia.
That'll be on this week's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome back. 2 privileged resolutions, 1 non-privileged resolution, 1 bill on your behalf, co-sponsored by myself. One of those resolutions honoring the soul is signed by all members of council.
Thank you, Councilman.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the city of Philadelphia the proposal set forth in a resolution approved by council proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter relating to the operating budget and providing for a mandatory minimum annual appropriation to the Police Advisory Commission or any successor body or bodies.
Refer to committee.
And a privilege resolution recognizing and honoring the Philadelphia Soul football team for winning their 3rd Arena Bowl championship title over the Tampa Bay Storm on August 26, 2017.
And that will be on today's final passage calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter relating to the operating budget and providing for a mandatory minimum annual appropriation to the Police Advisory Commission or any successor body or bodies.
And that will be referred to committee. That's it. And Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson.
Council President, I have 3 non-privileged resolutions, one on your behalf.
Thank you, Councilman.
You're welcome.
A non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to certain city on lots of pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon, situated in the 36th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution also naming Tasker Street between 20th Street and South 21st Street, James A. Lovett II Way.
And that will be on next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution approving the appointment of Rashida Johnson to the Philadelphia Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Rate Board.
And that will be referred to committee. The Chair recognizes Councilwoman Fiona Sanchez.
Good morning. I have 2 privileged resolutions, 2 non-privileged resolutions, and a bill.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
An ordinance amending Chapter 194200 of the Philadelphia Code entitled New Sustainable Businesses to expand the tax relief offered to such businesses and make technical corrections.
Refer to committee.
And a privileged resolution recognizing and honoring the 270th anniversary of Mexico's Independence Day.
And that will be on this week's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution declaring September 15, 2017 through October 15, 2017 as Hispanic Heritage Month here in the city of Philadelphia to honor the role that Hispanics have played and continue to play in the economic, cultural, and social development of our city and nation.
This week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to certain city-owned lots or pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon, situated in the 19th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution requesting the mayor to return to council Bill number 170595 entitled An Ordinance Regulating the Direction of Movement of Traffic on Westmoreland Street between Lawrence Street to Fifth Street for the purpose of reconsideration by the council of the vote by which said bill passed council.
And that will be on this week's calendar. Sorry, a little rusty. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Sanchez for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, let me get this straight. I wish to be recognized after the title of the resolution calling Bill number 170595, once it's read to into the record.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of the resolution in today's final passage calendar.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. This will be on today's final passage calendar. Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Councilman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I have 1 privileged resolution today.
Thank you, Councilman.
A privileged resolution honoring and recognizing the Consortium, Inc. on the 50th anniversary of its founding.
And that will be on this week's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 1 bill and 1 non-privileged resolution, and I wish to be recognized after the title of the non-privileged resolution is read for a motion.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
An ordinance amending Chapter 12-3000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Use of an Automated Red Light Enforcement System to Prevent Red Light Violations by authorizing the installation of red light enforcement systems at the intersection of Rising Sun Avenue and Levick Street.
For the committee.
And a non-privileged resolution adding the Honorable Shirley M. Kitchen to the street signs on the block intersections of the 5000 block of North 13th Street between West Ruscombe Street and Lindley Avenue.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move at this time to suspend the rules of council so as to permit consideration of this resolution on today's final passage calendar.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution will be on today's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Good morning, Council President. I have 4 privileged resolutions and 1 bill.
Thank you, Councilman.
An ordinance amending Title 21 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Miscellaneous by changing the rules for requesting the preparation of fiscal impact statements and final adoption of bills.
Refer to committee.
And a privilege resolution acknowledging and recognizing the Philadelphia Music and Arts Festival Philly Music Fest, an event that highlights the food, beer, and arts of Philadelphia, taking place September 22nd through September 23rd at World Cafe Live, Philadelphia.
And we'll be on today's.
And a privilege resolution honoring and remembering the late Darren Dutch Dalton, catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, who passed away Sunday, August 6, 2017, at the age of 55 after a 4-year battle with brain cancer.
Today's calendar.
And a privilege resolution honoring and congratulating the winners of the Philadelphia Magazine's Best of Philly 2017.
Today's calendar.
And a privilege resolution recognizing and honoring Steve Goodman, known as the fairy godfather of Philadelphia startups, for his hard work and dedication to countless Philadelphia startups and to the Philadelphia tech community.
Today's calendar. And the chair recognizes Councilwoman Gimm.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I have no bills or resolutions today.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chair recognizes Councilman Taubenberger.
Morning, Council President and colleagues. I have 1 privileged resolution, co-sponsored by yourself, Council members Green, Reynolds Brown, Heenan, Dom, and Gimm.
Thank you, Councilman.
A privilege resolution recognizing and honoring Artreach for the premiere of their original documentary film, I Am, which highlights the groundbreaking partnership between the Pennsylvania Ballet and the students of St. Catherine Day School.
And that will be on today's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilman O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no bills or resolutions.
Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilman Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer 3 bills and 2 non-privileged resolutions, 1 on your behalf.
Thank you, Councilman.
An ordinance authorizing the plotting upon city plan numbers 146 and 271 of 2 rights-of-way for sewer and drainage purposes, and the striking from said city plans and abandoning of all or portions of 4 other rights-of-way for various utility purposes, all lying within the area southeast of Delaware Avenue and northeast of Ellen Street.
Referred to committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 14 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Zoning and Planning by revising requirements for accessory signs located within the area bounded by Juniper Street, East Passyunk Avenue, and Mifflin Street.
Refer to committee.
And an ordinance amending Section 9204 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Sidewalk Vendors in Center City by eliminating previously designated vendor locations in Center City.
Refer to committee.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fees simple title to certain city on lots and pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 45th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution appointing Drew Murray to the Board of Directors of the Center City District.
And that will be on next week's calendar. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer 2 bills, 1 privileged resolution and 3 non-privileged resolution, and I wish to be recognized after the title of the resolution calling Bill Number 170519 is read for a motion on the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
An ordinance authorizing Germantown Special Services District to install, own, and maintain various bollard encroachments at 57 West Maplewood Mall.
Refer to committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 15 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Parks and Recreation by requiring the public posting of hours of operation for libraries and recreation centers.
Refer to committee.
And a non-privileged resolution approving the redevelopment contract of the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority for the redevelopment and urban renewal of a portion of the Germantown redevelopment area identified by house number and street address as 5820 through 5824 Germantown Avenue.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to service city and lots of pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 12th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority without consideration deeds conveying conditional fee simple title to service city and lots of pieces of ground with the buildings and improvements thereon situated in the 12th Ward of the City of Philadelphia.
Next week's calendar.
And a privileged resolution recognizing the Philadelphia Department of Revenue for instituting a new payment plan options for non-real estate taxes.
And that will be on this week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution requesting the mayor to return to council bill number 170519, entitled an ordinance amending chapter 1300 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Real Estate Taxes by creating a tax foreclosure diversion program that requires housing counseling assistance, updating tax installment payment agreements to help taxpayers with financial hardships and other related items for the purpose of reconsideration by the council of the vote by which said bill passed council.
And the chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of the resolution on today's final passage calendar.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that will be on this week's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilman O.
Thank you very much, Council President. I offer two bills, two non-privileged resolutions, and two privileged resolutions. The resolutions co-sponsored by Council members Gimm, Squeala, Green, Dom, Blackwell, Barker, Bass, Brown, and Greenlee. And in particular, I'd like to note and thank Council member Helen Gimm for all her work on DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. And honestly, she had prepared her own resolution with great effort. I kind of got in there first, so I just want to recognize and appreciate the work we do together.
Thank you.
An ordinance adding a chapter 194300 to the Philadelphia Code entitled Tax Benefits for New Mega Businesses by providing an incentive for a new mega business that chooses to locate in the city of Philadelphia by reducing the business net income tax rate to zero.
Further committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 17 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Contracts and Procurement by enacting a new subsection 17-1605, subparagraph 3, to provide for additional oversight by the City Council of compliance with all economic opportunity plans for the participation of minority and female workers, minority-owned disadvantaged business enterprises, female-owned disadvantaged business enterprises, and disabled-owned disadvantaged business enterprises.
Further committee.
And a privilege resolution recognizing and honoring the class of 2017 inductees to the Philadelphia Music Walk of Fame.
This week's calendar.
And a privilege resolution recognizing September as National Recovery Month in Philadelphia and celebrate the 16th annual ProAct Recovery Walks to promote recovery and work to end the stigma surrounding drug and alcohol addiction.
This week's calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution requesting the President of the United States and the United States Congress to enact legislation allowing deferred action for childhood arrivals program recipients to remain permanently in the United States by March 2018.
And that will be on next week's final passage calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution recognizing September 2017 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Philadelphia in honor of childhood cancer patients, caregivers, survivors, and those children who have succumbed to the disease, and urging the United States House of Representatives and United States Senate to pass House Resolution 820 and Senate Bill 292, both entitled Child Cancer Survivorship Treatment, Access, and Research Act of 2017, or the Childhood Cancer STAR Act.
And that will be on next week's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Mr. Decker for one more resolution. And this will be for Councilman Jones.
A privilege resolution supporting the National Minority Business Development Agency and recognizing October 2nd through October 6th, 2017 as Philadelphia Minority Enterprise Development Week, which provides critical information, resources, opportunities, and inspiration to the minority business community.
And that resolution will be on this week's final passage calendar. That concludes the introduction of bills and resolutions, and the next order of business is reports from committee. And the chair recognizes Councilman Greenlee for a report from the Committee on Rules.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Rules reports one bill with no recommendation.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Decker, please read the report.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee on Rules, to which is referred Bill number 170675, entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Philadelphia Zoning Maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Woodbine Avenue, Upland Way, 59th Street, Lancaster Avenue, and 62nd Street. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council without recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. Bill number 170675 will be placed on the first reading calendar for the next session of Council. Our next order of business is consideration of the Council. The calendar, and there being no bills on the first reading calendar, the chair recognizes Councilman Heenan for the purpose of calling up bills and resolutions on the final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following resolution bills are being called up for second reading final passage calendars today. Bill numbers 170706, 170406, 170468, and 170623. All other bills and resolutions are being held.
Thank you, Councilman. Our next order of business is public comment. Public comment will go as follows. If you are interested in testifying on a bill or resolution that is on the final passage calendar today, if you have not already done so, you can please sign up at the table to my left. When your name is called, you will go to the podium in the middle of the council chambers. There's a device on that podium. When the light turns green, it will be your time to speak. When the light turns yellow, you will have 30 seconds to conclude your remark. When the light turns red, we ask that you please adhere to the guidelines and conclude your remarks. You will be given 3 minutes. Mr. Decker, can you please call the name of the first witness?
Alicia Dorsey.
Testing.
Alicia Dorsey. Peter Winslow. Peter Winslow. Karen Melton. Commenting on 170706.
Morning.
Good morning. My name is Karen Melton. I live in East Falls, and I'm the education chair for the Southeastern Pennsylvania Sierra Club and a volunteer with Citizens Climate Lobby and 350.org. I want to urge Council to vote in favor of Resolution 170706, committing Philadelphia to meet the targets of the Paris Climate Accord and urging other public agencies to do their part. The various target dates sound far away, but transitioning power systems and technologies takes time, and we don't have much left. SEPTA has ordered 25 electric buses and has contracted for several solar projects in the city, and these are good steps. But at the same time, it plans to buy 525 more diesel hybrids over the next 5 years and build a gas-fired power plant in Nicetown. Each bus will produce more than 221,000 pounds of greenhouse gas tailpipe emissions annually, according to SEPTA. They will still be in operation in the 2030s. The permit application for the gas-fired power plant emissions are all measured in tons per year, 20.7 nitrogen oxides, 27 carbon monoxide, and more than 16 tons of volatile organic compounds. These are pollutants known to contribute to the formation of smog, which can cause or aggravate health problems, including asthma, emphysema, bronchitis, and other respiratory conditions. The immediately adjacent zip code to the proposed power plant has a 31% childhood asthma rate and the highest rate of childhood visits to the emergency room for asthma attacks in the city. Burning fossil fuels doesn't just destabilize our climate, it makes us sick. Yesterday, the world's largest auto market, China, announced it is working on a plan to ban gas and diesel automobiles, and it is not the first country to make such an announcement. There are U.S. transit systems already transitioning to all-electric bus fleets powered by renewable energy. While we discuss here how quickly we can get Philadelphia to 100% renewables to help stabilize the climate, SEPTA is down the street making plans that will add many thousands of tons of greenhouse gases and other pollutants to our air for many years to come. Council, please support this resolution and, more importantly, enact measures to ensure that other agencies such as SEPTA support these goals. And Councilwoman Bass, we look forward to the public hearing you plan to conduct on the gas plant.
Thank you for your testimony.
Laura Kofsky. Pat Libby. Commenting on 170706.
Morning.
I say this because I've sworn to do everything I can to protect our children and our grandchildren. This was originally a poem sent to Tom Wolfe about fracking's effects on children. It has been hand-delivered by me to all of you council people's offices. It's gone to the mayor, to Tom Wolfe, Pam DeLisio, Vincent Hughes, the DEP, DRBC, Office of Sustainability, the Air Management Council. I am the voice of the stillborn who cannot speak. I am the voice for disabled in pain. I am the voice of the asthmatics who cannot breathe. I am the voice for those we have slain. They breathe the air that's polluted by toxins. They drink the water that's darkened by grime. They scratch their skin raw on all the red rashes. They go to school on roads covered in slime. We are the cause of their sufferings and agonies. We are the cause of their writhing in pain. Fracking is killing our totally defenseless. It has no sympathy for those it has slain. Originally, I thought that Tom Wolfe was the only one who could help us with this. I now realize we are all responsible every time we turn on a gas appliance or the electricity that is made by burning gas. Thank you for supporting this bill.
Thank you for your testimony, ma'am.
Asa Khalif. Presenting on 170-706.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Change of plans. We're not going to discuss the bill. I just wanted to introduce everyone, particularly City Council, to the first victim of the police officer that was recently fired, Ryan Pownall. This was the first victim of his heinous act of shooting black men in the back. This is Brother Carney Williams, and he has something that he would like to say, and then he's going to say his piece and leave. He's representing Black Lives Matter Pennsylvania chapter and the Justice for David Jones Coalition. And I would ask each and every one of you council people to please respect this person and this brother with his courage to come forward and speak in his own words. Brother Carnell.
Thank you, Asa Khalif. And I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I would like to go into more detail. After the David Jones killing, and my condolences go out to his family, it was brought to when I seen that, it made me sickening, because I believe back 7 years ago, when I was shot in the back, no firearm was found. 7 years, about a half an hour later, till I got to the other hospital. They never brought to the fact that the officer initially stopped me because I had a piece of paper in my hand. Thought it was drug narcotics. He even testified that he never seen a gun. But yet, I'm sitting in a wheelchair to this day because I ran through an open field and he opened fire on me. Through the grace of God, I didn't die. But I would not like my voice to not go unheard. And it's not so much about me. It's not so much about civil suit. It's not so much about money. It's so much about justice. And I believe that if you continue to keep these officers out here that feel as though they can hold court, judge, and jury in the streets, what that say for our society? You understand what I'm saying? I know a lot of politicians and a lot of people in good position. Imagine if your child, your nephew, or you know how younger folks are, maybe driving in a car and get pulled over, and then don't know who their predecessors are, and they get in the same situation I got into. When the cop shot me, they not only did they shoot me, they flipped me over, found no gun. I was literally feet away from the hospital where they could have got nurses and C-collars and, prepared me quickly, prepared me where maybe my injuries wouldn't have been so bad. But instead, they decided to lift my arms up in the back, which I was shot in the T4 area, if you're familiar with that. That's the upper back. I was almost close to being on a ventilator. They grabbed me and threw me in the back of the cop car. I'm bouncing around in sheets with a brand new bullet wound. And also, they continue to through the transcripts, through my lawyer, all they kept asking was, did he die? Did he die? Did he die? So from what I get from that, my main concern, if he died, he can't testify about the truth of the matter. I was acquitted in court, and due to all the turmoil, I sat 18 months in court to be acquitted, and that wasn't, I didn't believe that was fair to me. I rolled with the punches. My lawyer got me off, Max Kramer. He even took the trial on. He felt so bad. He paid for the trial out of his own pocket and acquitted me. And then I went into civil suit, and I got royal juries from all over, and unfortunately, it didn't go my way. But if I'm an immediate threat from you, how would I be shot in the back? I never had no firearm in my hands, not of the nature. The cop even said he never even seen me throw a firearm. He paused behind a wall, lined me up in the middle of the field. I heard the first bullet go past my ear. The second bullet hit me in my back, which tackled me down to the ground. Now, I'm not going to go on, and I just want to give you a brief history of my story. And I would also like a change, I would like that if these police officers get better training and get better, excuse me. This has been a traumatic experience for me. I used to be a fitness trainer before I got injured. So it saved me because my muscle mass was thick and the bullet didn't go all the way through. But to get back to the David Jones situation, his gun was by the cop officer's feet. His gun jammed. So at that point, he was supposed to recess the situation. David Jones was fleeing. Therefore, is no imminent threat towards the officer. But yet, he still chose to fire off shots that took this man to heaven. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Understand.
Excuse me 1 second, and I understand and I respect the time for the other protesters and the other activists, and we will respect that time as well. We just want to get this brother to say what he needs to say, because he's been dealing with this trauma for years, and we want him to understand that we care for him in this city. We care for him in this city, okay? So just give us a few minutes for him to close, and we'll respect the time, and we thank the city council for respecting his time and his voice as well. Go ahead, brother.
I'm not going to take too much more of your time, but when I woke up after getting that gunshot in that grass, my life has changed to the point where I will get justice for any, don't matter whether black, white, Hispanic, no matter what race. If you're being injustice by police, the people that supposed to protect and serve, as long as I got breath in my body, you will see me a lot. I don't care how much medical I go through. I'm in and out nursing homes with different complications, but I will make it down here because I believe that it needs to be a change, because this is not helping the community and the law enforcement communications. You know?
Yes, sir.
Now, you get brothers out here read these articles. First thing they think is, I got to protect myself from the police. And then the next thing you hear about cops getting killed. I'm gonna end with this. If you have a heart in your heart, please, just think of my story as you go home and think about that is ways to solve situation without using deadly force.
Thank you for your testimony, sir, and thank you.
Can y'all give a hand to our dear brother for his courage? This is why we're demanding for that police officer.
Thank you. Okay.
We want the officer arrested, and we want the officer charged for the murder of David Jones.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your testimony. All right, okay. Okay. We got it. Where? All right. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You're right. Thank you. Okay, we have another group that wants to testify also, sir. Thank you. Oh, Ms. Deck, call the name of the next witness.
Raheed Holmes.
Ready?
Commenting on 170-706.
Yeah, man. It's time for change, man. We people of color, man. We gotta come together, man. All that cop killing and stuff, it's gotta come to the end, man. They just, because you reap what you sow, man. You do the people dirty, you must pay the price. That's how I was raised. When you do people dirty, you be punished. You'll be punished. Ain't no way you getting away in life. How can you live like this and continue to shoot unarmed black people out here? Any color, no matter what color you are. White, Spanish, Mexico, don't matter, man. We must be punished. When you do crime to people, you must be punished. Ain't no way he should be getting away. He should be punished for what he just did to that boy right there. It made me cry, tears in my eyes. It's sad. I'm going through this. It could be it could be your kid, your nephew. It could be anybody, especially the kids, young folks. They need us, and kids is being kidnapped out here, and they deserve to live their life. They didn't ask to be here. They deserve to be here and enjoy their life and live their life. We all supposed to be uniting people of all colors, for real. This cop killer's got to stop, man. They got to put an end to it. It have to stop. Seriously. That's why I'm here, man, to put in action, man. It's time to stop. Seriously, man. For real.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. What?
Clark King. Commenting on 170-706.
Morning.
Good morning, Council President, and thank you, Council members, for your time. I'm speaking in opposition to Resolution 170-706, and that is the city committing itself to meeting or exceeding the targets set by the Paris Climate Accord.
Speak into the mic.
Thank you. in any event, let's see. Are we communicating that we're going to continue with supporting the Fed's and Wall Street bailout system? I have to say, poverty is the immediate national security crisis, and it is caused by Wall Street. I think we see the results of poverty in this room every day. The greatest depression exists. Political leadership and power must work to confront the crisis unemployment in our city, the Commonwealth, and the nation. The U.S. Treasury and the Fed must stop supporting the Wall Street bankers, speculators, and transition the Fed into a public bank facility that funds the government, industry, and infrastructure, making way for wage-driven recovery and economic growth. The Federal Reserve Bank must begin retrieving the bailout trillions, the lost, unaccounted for, and stolen trillions. That's our money. The U.S. fiat money system is our money system. Wall Street does not own us. We own them. The redevelopment of North America depends on the reorganization of the U.S. money and financial system. Millions of lives are depending on political leadership to perceive and implement the national priorities that support the population's survival and perpetuation. Climate change supports new laws for Wall Street financial engineering, Wall Street financial products, taxes, swaps, and it has the component of economic and population contraction. Radical population reduction policy is embedded in climate change. Political leadership must face up to the reality. The organization and operation of the Fed from now on is the immediate political priority. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony.
Diop Olvbala, commenting on 170247.
Morning.
Much like one of the earlier speakers, I'm not here to address one of the bills on the agenda, but I'm here to address a bill that we introduced this past February on black community control of the police, which need was underscored by the testimony that we just heard from the brother that was put in a wheelchair by a Philadelphia police officer and the same cop that killed David Jones. And we understand that the only real permanent solution to the problem of police brutality, murder, stop and frisk, and all the other crimes and offenses that the police commit against the black community is for the black community itself to have authority and full control over the police force in our community. Therefore, we have drafted a bill that is consistent with your own legal language and structure that speaks to specific demands that will result in a different type of relationship that the black community has with the police in this city and in this country as a whole. Firstly, this bill, and you have all city council members, you have received this. We actually delivered it to you several days ago and several months ago, so you should be aware of this bill. But one, we're calling for a Black Community Control of Police Commission that would be democratically elected by the community within specific Philadelphia police districts where the population is at least 40% black and Latino. This Black Community Control of Police Commission will be democratically elected and be structured on the black neighborhood and district level. This Black Community Control of Police Commission would have the power to hire, fire, set the training standards, and also discipline power, meaning independent prosecutorial subpoena power, so that when police violate the rights of the people, we have our own independent Black Community Control of Police Prosecutorial Commission that has the ability, whether the DA wants to or not, press charges and bring police up on charges. And most importantly, the Black Community Control of Police Charter, which would redefine how the budget that is allocated towards the Philadelphia police districts in question, how that budget would be used. No longer would the budget go towards these ski mask wearing, assault rifle carrying, occupying forces in our community, but it would go towards the real solution to so-called crime and violence in our community, which is economic development. The $1.4 billion that the city of Philadelphia spends on police, prisons, and courts should be going towards economic development in the form of jobs, training, housing, health care, etc. We have drafted a concrete bill that lays this out in a very clear and understandable way. You have all received it. We are calling on City Council, at least one of you, to sponsor this bill so that it can be formally introduced on the City Council agenda.
Thank you.
We are from the Black is Back Coalition, standing alongside our comrades of the Philly Real Justice and other forces that came with us today to raise up this important demand, and we're not leaving until we get a resolution on the way forward with this bill.
Thank you.
Meaning,
Thank you.
who's going to sponsor this bill?
Thank you for your testimony, sir. Appreciate it.
Megan Malachi.
That's Megan Malachi. I'm representing the Philly Coalition. I'm representing the Philly Real Justice. I'm here today to continue with what my comrade Diap said. We are not here to ask you about sponsoring this bill. We're here to demand that you do it. We are in a crisis level in the city where cops are murdering and executing black people at a rate that is outrageous. We're not here for any type of liberal or symbolic demands where police are able to investigate themselves and then turn out and say that they are not guilty. We are demanding a systemic change in the way the society operates when it comes to black people and law enforcement. The black people of Philadelphia are tired of the police coming into our community and terrorizing us. We are demanding this democratic and legitimate bill be adopted by City Council. Darrell Clark has a lot of information about this. His own citizens within North Philly have also demanded similar change in structures. So you need to answer to us and tell us why you have not adopted this bill previously. Comrade Diop has given you this bill, back in February? So I'm confused as to why we have to sit through this long, extended meeting and we're still talking about this. There's no reason why those other people had to go all the way to the Northeast to that Ponal's house because you guys don't want to hold these cops accountable. This bill spells out exactly what needs to happen, and all of you black politicians who are sitting here not passing this bill, you all are complicit as well. We're tired of asking you guys to vote for us, asking us to vote for you all every November whenever the elections are, and you guys not doing anything that you're supposed to do to protect our communities. In fact, you're complicit because you're sitting here with people like Heenan, people like Squilla, who have made it clear that they are completely antagonistic and complicit with white supremacy when it comes to the black community. So quite frankly, you need to be standing over here with us. You are sucking the blood and the economic resources out of our community. There's even no reason why all these cops should be here right now. Anybody else who's sitting in the gallery who is interested in black community control of the police, we can give you a copy of this as well. This is something that is going to happen or is going to be a real problem for you all because we can stay here all day. I have no problem turning up in here to make sure that black people are not continuing to be murdered by the police. And we're not going to let you obscure this issue anymore. So you need to tell us right now whether or not you are going to adopt this because we will continue with this if you refuse to. This is not us asking you, this is us demanding that this happens, and it's going to turn into a nice little bourgeois city council meeting into a revolutionary occupation if you keep playing with us. So what is it? What's it going to be, Darrell Clark? Because I took off from work today. I have students at my job with no books. I have kids with no resources who have been stopped and frisked. So what are you going to do to stop my students from having to deal with the same stuff that man in that wheelchair and that David Jones has to deal with? What is your answer?
Thank you for your testimony.
What is your answer, sir?
Mike, you done? Mike, you done with public comment? You done with testimony? Same thing. I have no idea. I don't have that last list. Good?
I've got 5 more names. Are we ready to, I was waiting for the president to tell me to do that.
Good? Huh? Okay. We'll let everybody get out.
What is your response?
Okay. All right, we will conclude our public comment. Mr. Decker, can you call the name of the next witness?
Cody Lamy. Cody Lamy. Kamal Mishak. Anthony Smith. Corncleus Moody. Joe Danahill. Commenting on 170641.
This is an official decree in rear mandamus quo warranto, as such requires immediate action remedy. Does this council and mayor need a mirror to see their own hypocrisy? This government's officials have criticized others about morality and government ethics violations. In my case, trial by jury was opposed by mayor and council several times, violating their oath of office to uphold, defend, and protect the constitutions and laws. Most of the first 14 amendments deal with theft of property and denial of God-given rights. If first come, first serve is truly impartial, why has council and mayor approved payments to people whose homes were taken decades after mine? Why have I been required by oath-bound officials to wait decades while council and mayor consistently places others ahead of me to pay? This is a violation of equal treatment clauses and is cruel and unusual punishment. The federal government claims it has poured hundreds of millions into the sea to pay claims in my case. Yet I wasn't paid a dime. and the city cannot account for the missing money. Since my several trials by jury were opposed and denied, why hasn't the federal and Commonwealth governments prosecuted those involved? The law requires immediate remedy of this breach of law. 42 U.S.C. 1982, 1983, 1985, 1986, 1987, 18 U.S.C. 241, 242, 2381, 2384, oath of office. PA Constitution, Article 1, Sections 1 through 11, 26 PA CSA, 703, 708, 709, 712, 713, 716, and other laws listed in SCOTUS 158965, 141330, 144056, all appear violated. As such, requires immediate prosecution of all involved. There can only be one law. I again call for the Commonwealth and federal governments to perform their constitutional obligations, to investigate, prosecute all involved in the theft and the illegal deed transfer of my home, 1038 West Wyoming, the denial of God-given 42 U.S.C. 1982 property rights for 23 years is egregious, extraordinary, oath-violating, and requires immediate remedy. A just government must obey the rule of law. This color of all government must have its charter of government revoked until a constitutionally compliant government is installed. Public servants cannot refuse their sworn duty to act any more than a fireman can refuse to fight a fire. The sovereign people of the United States require laws and constitutions to be enforced and this constitutional crisis to be immediately resolved. Jail is required for all who violate oath or law. It takes a lot of cooperation to create and allow monumental corruption.
Thank you for your testimony.
Peter Winslow, commenting on 170-706.
President Clark and members of the council, thank you for providing me this opportunity to speak to you in support of resolution number 170706, committing the city of Philadelphia to meet or exceed its share of the targets set by the Paris Climate Accord for the mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions. Together with other members of the environmental and social justice community, I look forward to working with you to implement this commitment during the current council session. My name is Peter Winslow. I'm a resident of West Mount Airy in the district of Councilman Bass. I thank Councilman Bass and the co-sponsors of the resolution, Council members Green, Johnson, and Gim, for introducing this resolution. And I thank Councilwoman Reynolds Brown for her leadership of the Environmental Committee. Moreover, in anticipation of unanimous approval of the resolution, let me express my appreciation to the entire council and to Mayor Kenny for stepping up to meet our obligations as the Trump administration steps away from responsibility for meaningful response to climate disruption. A change of pace, change of mood. Council Resolution number 170599, urging the President of the United States to recommit and join with the Council of the City of Philadelphia in affirming its commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement, fell on deaf ears. Climate change deniers lead the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Energy, and the Department of the Interior. The current Congress appears incapable of positive action on any environmental issue. Likewise, the Pennsylvania legislature ignores the provision of Article 1, Section 27 of the state constitution that the people have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of the natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. Nevertheless, even if we enjoyed the full commitment from other levels of government, Philadelphia remains responsible for meeting our share of the Paris Accords. Furthermore, even if the goals of the Paris Accords were met, the results would be inadequate to meet the challenges we face. We must act quickly, we must act aggressively, we must act consistently to transition from an economy dependent on fossil fuels to a more sustainable society powered by renewable energy sources. May I continue? We support the steel workers, steam fitters, and other workers at the Philadelphia Energy Systems refineries, but we need, for their welfare as well as everybody else's, to stop PES from continuing to emit greenhouse gases and other toxins into our environment. We support SEPTA in its efforts to transport passengers more energy efficiently than by private car, but we need SEPTA not to construct an unnecessary gas-powered electricity generation plant in Nicetown. We support the expansion of container operations at Philliport, but we need conversion of operations from diesel to electric power. We support energy efficiency initiatives by the city, but we need a program to obtain electricity from local photovoltaic solar installations, and much more.
Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Thank you very much for your time.
There are no other speakers on the public comment list, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Decker, would you please read the title of 170706?
A resolution committing the City of Philadelphia to meet or exceed its share of the targets set by the Paris Climate Accord for the mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Resolution 170706 is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of 170406.
An ordinance continuing the Mount Airy Business Improvement District beyond its termination date in an area that generally includes both sides of Germantown Avenue from 6300 to 7631, and certain blocks of streets that intersect that portion of Germantown Avenue, and for which the Mount Airy Improvement District, a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation, is the Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association for the district, approving a final plan and report for the district, including a list of proposed improvements and their estimated cost, and providing for for assessment fees to be levied on property owners within the district.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
It's an ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ordinance. Got a little off my game. Sorry. This bill has been read on two separate days. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass. Councilwoman Blackwell. Councilman Dom. Councilman Green. Councilman Greenlee. Councilwoman Gim. Councilman Heenan. Councilman Johnson. Councilman Jones. Councilman O'Neill. Councilman O. Councilwoman Parker. Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez. Councilwoman Reynolds Brown. Councilman Squilla. Councilman Taubenberger. Council President Clark.
Aye. The ayes are 16, the nays are 0. Majority of members present voting in the affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, 170468.
An ordinance establishing a business improvement district encompassing certain existing and future hotel properties within the boundaries of the City of Philadelphia to be known as the Philadelphia Hospitality Improvement Levy District, designating the Philadelphia Hospitality Improvement Levy District Corporation to serve as Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association for the district, approving a plan for the district, including a list of proposed programs and services related to the development and promotion of the hotel and tourism industry in the city and county of Philadelphia and their estimated cost.
As a bond ordinance, this is a requirement of 2/3. No? Oh, I'm sorry. This bill has been read two separate times. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass. Councilwoman Blackwell. Councilman Dom. Councilman Green. Councilman Greenlee. Councilwoman Gim. Councilman Heenan. Councilman Johnson. Councilman Jones. Councilman O'Neill. Councilman O. Councilwoman Parker. Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez. Councilwoman Reynolds Brown. Councilman Squilla. Councilman Taubenberger. Council President Clark.
Aye. Ayes are 17, the nays are 0. Majority of members present voting in affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, 170623.
An ordinance authorizing the bond committee to sell bonds at public or private negotiated sale, to provide funds toward various capital municipal purposes, providing for appropriations to the sinking fund for the payment of such bonds, authorizing agreements to provide credit or payment or liquidity sources for the bonds in connection with issuance of the bonds, and certain other actions, providing for obtaining the consent of the electors to increasing the indebtedness of the city, and fixing a day, and providing for arrangements for holding the election for obtaining such consent.
This bill has been read on 2 separate days. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? Please note that because of a bond authorization, there is a requirement of 2/3 vote. Mr. Decker, call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass. Councilwoman Blackwell. Councilman Dom. Councilman Green. Councilman Greenlee. Councilwoman Gim. Councilman Heenan. Councilman Johnson. Councilman Jones. Councilman O'Neill. Councilman O. Councilwoman Parker. Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez. Councilwoman Reynolds Brown. Councilman Squilla. Councilman Taubenberger. Council President Clark.
Aye, the ayes are 17 and nays are 0. Majority of members present, voting in the affirmative, the bill passes. Mr. Decker, you have any additional, Councilwoman?
On bill number 170406.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Let the
Thank
record
you.
reflect that the Councilwoman voted aye on that particular bill. Mr. Decker, you have any additional resolutions?
A resolution recognizing National Drive Electric Week 2017 in the city of Philadelphia, introduced by Councilwoman Reynolds Brown.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Brown.
I move for the adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
And a resolution encouraging Amazon to choose the city of Philadelphia as the future home of HQ2, introduced by Councilwoman Reynolds Brown.
Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I note again for the record that this was co-sponsored by all members of City Council, and I move for the adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution calling for the City Council Committee on Streets and Services to hold hearings investigating the feasibility of opening the outer lanes of the Benjamin Franklin Parkway to install more flags and increase the number of countries that are represented, introduced by Councilwoman Blackwell.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
And a resolution honoring the 230th anniversary of the signing of the United States Constitution and recognizing September 17th as Constitution Day in the city of Philadelphia, introduced by Councilman Heenan.
Chair recognizes Councilman Heenan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for the adoption.
Second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. That resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing and honoring the Philadelphia Soul football team for winning their 3rd Arena Bowl championship title over the Tampa Bay Storm on August 26, 2017, introduced by Councilman Jones.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution supporting the National Minority Business Development Agency and recognizing October 2nd through October 6th, 2017 as Philadelphia Minority Enterprise Development Med Week, which provides critical information, resources, opportunities, and inspiration to the minority business community, introduced by Councilman Jones.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you again, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. That resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing and honoring the 207th anniversary of Mexico's Independence Day, introduced by Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution declaring September 15, 2017 through October 15, 2017 as Hispanic Heritage Month here in the city of Philadelphia to honor the role that Hispanics have played and continue to play in the economic, cultural, and social development of our city and nation, introduced by Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Thank you, Council President. Thanks again to all my colleagues for supporting this on an annual basis. So I move for its adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution requesting the mayor to return to council bill number 170595, entitled an ordinance regulating the direction of movement of traffic on Westmoreland Street between Lawrence Street to 5th Street for the purpose of reconsideration by the council of the vote by which said bill passed council, introduced by Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Chair one more time recognizes Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit consideration of this special business at this time.
Council, just move the,
Okay, I can
just move, yeah.
Okay. I
Thank
move
you.
for its adoption.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution honoring and recognizing the Consortium, Inc. on the 50th anniversary of its founding, introduced by Councilman Green.
Chair recognizes Councilman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of this resolution.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution adding the Honorable Shirley M. Kitchen to the street signs on the block intersections of the 5000 block of North 13th Street between West Ruscombe Street and Lindley Avenue in recognition of Senator Kitchen's tremendous service and contributions to the city of Philadelphia, introduced by Councilwoman Parker.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for the adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution acknowledging and recognizing the Philadelphia Music and Arts Festival Philly Music Fest, an event that highlights the food, beer, and arts of Philadelphia, taking place September 22nd through September 23rd at World Cafe Live, Philadelphia, introduced by Councilman Dom.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution honoring and remembering the late Darren Dutch Dalton, catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, who passed away Sunday, August 6, 2017, at the age of 55 after a 4-year battle with brain cancer, introduced by Councilman Dom.
Chair, one more time, recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. Move for the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution honoring and congratulating the winners of the Philadelphia Magazine's Best of Philly 2017, introduced by Councilman Dom.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. Move for the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing and honoring Steve Goodman, known as the fairy godfather of Philadelphia startups, for his hard work and dedication to countless Philadelphia startups and to the Philadelphia tech community, introduced by Councilman Dom.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. Move for the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. That resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing and honoring Artreach for the premiere of their original documentary film, I Am, which highlights the groundbreaking partnership between the Pennsylvania Ballet and the students of St. Catherine Day School, introduced by Councilman Taubenberger.
Chair recognizes Councilman Taubenberger.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing the Philadelphia Department of Revenue for instituting new payment plan options for non-real estate taxes, introduced by Councilwoman Bass.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution requesting the mayor to return to Council Bill number 170519, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 19-1300 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Real Estate Taxes by creating a tax foreclosure diversion program that requires housing counseling assistance, updating tax installment payment agreements to help taxpayers with financial hardships, and other related items for the purpose of reconsideration by the council, the vote by which said bill passed council, introduced by Councilwoman Bass on behalf of Council President Clark.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of special business at this time.
It's been moved and should this motion, right? Yeah, Councilwoman, just make a motion and then we'll come to special business in a second. This moved.
Okay, so moved. I make,
All right. Been moved and probably seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing and honoring the class of 2017 inductees to the Philadelphia Music Walk of Fame, introduced by Councilman O.
Chair recognizes Councilman O.
Thank you very much. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution recognizing September as National Recovery Month in Philadelphia and celebrating the 16th annual PRO Act Recovery Walks to promote recovery and work to end the stigma surrounding drug and alcohol addiction, introduced by Councilman O.
Chair recognizes Councilman O.
Thank you. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Been moved and probably second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
There are no other resolutions on the final passage calendar, Mr.
Thank you
President.
very much. It is now time to move to special business. And the chair now recognizes Councilwoman Kiona Sanchez for a motion regarding special business.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of special business at this time.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of special business at this time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion passes. Mr. Decker will please read the letter from the mayor.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, I'm returning herewith as requested by your resolution adopted today, Bill Number 170595, entitled An Ordinance Regulating the Direction of Movement of Traffic on Westmoreland Street between Lawrence Street to Fifth Street, for the purpose of reconsideration by the Council of the vote by which said bill passed Council.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Sanchez for a motion that council reconsider the vote by which Bill Number 170595 was passed.
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. A majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the motion carries, and the vote by which Bill Number 170595 was passed has been reconsidered. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Kiona Sanchez one more time.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer an amendment to Bill Number 170595. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to members of council, and I move for its adoption.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to Bill Number 170595 be adopted. All in favor will indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and Bill Number 170595 has been amended. This bill will be placed on our final passage calendar for our next session of council. Additional special business, and the chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass for a motion regarding additional special business. Now I got you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of special business at this time.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the rules of council be suspended to permit consideration of special business at this time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it, and the motion passes. Mr. Decker will please read the letter from the mayor.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, I am returning herewith as requested by your resolution adopted today, Bill Number 170519, entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 19-1300 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Real Estate Taxes by creating a tax foreclosure and diversion program that requires housing counseling assistance, updating tax installment payment agreements to help taxpayers with financial hardships, and other related items, for the purpose of reconsideration by the Council of the vote by which said bill passed Council.
The chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass for a motion that council reconsider the vote by which Bill Number 170519 was passed.
Thank you. So moved, Mr. President.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. A majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the motion carries, and the vote by which Bill Number 170519 was passed has been reconsidered. This bill will be placed on the final passage calendar for our next session of council. That completes our calendar for the day. Are there any speeches on the part of the minority? And the chair recognizes Councilman O.
Thank you very much, Council President. I have a few things. I'd like to start with this. This past Tuesday, I had the pleasure of attending the National Liberty Museum's Awards of Valor. This is their 12th year. First time I've been there. I didn't know about it, but I will definitely go every year after this, and I encourage everyone. It is recognition of our first responders here in Philadelphia and the region, our police and our firefighters who have done just a fantastic job. It was a very moving ceremony where they read what each one of these firefighters and police officers did, saving lives, great risk to themselves, acting above and beyond what we would expect a normal person to do, but that's what they do every day. And there were some very, very heart-rending moments. A firefighter who crawled through 15 feet of sewage in a very small pipe to then crawl through 15 more to save a person's life who'd been stuck in a sewer. A firefighter who pulled a 7-year-old girl or a child out of a fire. A police officer who tried to revive a child who had suffocated. Just a tremendous effort. Unfortunately, she passed away. But just the stories that are just the things that occur every day from our men and women who wear the uniform that so often and too often go unrecognized. And I'd just like to shout out to them, job well done. Thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice to our city. On that note, I do want to say that I have a couple events I'd like to alert the public. One is PHL Live is in its 4th year. It's a free opportunity, very easy. Go to phllive.org, submit your YouTube video in 10 categories of music. We have Grammy Award winners and others who will look at your video and then select 5 finalists in one of 10 categories, and the winners will perform live and can win $1,000, free studio recording time, and those type of things to advance their opportunities to be who they want to be. I would alert everyone, if you're available, we have a fundraiser for the Green Beret Foundation on Friday, October the 6th. These folks put their lives on the line. They risk their lives for our democracy, for our nation. We can put their minds at ease. This is benefits the scholarship program for their children and dependents, so they'll have assistance in getting an education. And then finally, on September the 28th at Community College, 6 to 8 p.m., completely free program for anyone who's interested in film, how to finance, produce, and distribute your film. We have a lot of filmmakers, but having talent and ability to make a film does not necessarily mean you'll be successful in terms of getting your film viewed, distributed, getting the money to really make a solid production. And so we'll have expert speakers there. I'd invite everyone. Come to this event. It's Thursday, September 28th, 6 to 8 at the Community College of Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. On behalf of the majority, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to invite my colleagues along with the public to 2 events that will be occurring this weekend in the 9th Councilmanic District. The first, Mr. President, because I was going to call you Mr. Speaker just now, Mr. President, so just thank you for your patience and being with me there. But this is our 10th year for our College Vocational and Labor Information Fair, partnering with Future Minds and Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. Again, our 10th year. We are so proud. We have over 50 schools, over a dozen labor unions, and several trade schools, not just from the Philadelphia region, but from throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I want to say a huge thank you to Future Minds and Enon, because we've been at this for 10 years. And that is this Saturday, September the 16th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in their Family Life Center at 2800 Cheltenham Avenue. All are invited. There's something for everyone. The next thing is called Hope for Philly. Now, this is a new date. It was supposed to take place on September the 2nd, but it was rained out. It will now take place on this Saturday. It is from 11 to 3, and it is at Pennypacker School, located at 1858 East Washington Lane. It's hosted by Great Commission Church. And listen, they're going to have employers, SEPTA, ShopRite, Police Department, and more, several sponsors. And so I want to give a huge shout out to the pastor of Great Commission Church, Levita Jones, and all of the planning committee for putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, welcome back. I want to applaud you, Mr. President, for having patience of Job. I know sometimes the North Philly in you wants to respond back, but you did not. You represented our body in a professional and tasteful manner, and I applaud you for that. I want to also say that...
Councilman, you have no idea how difficult this is.
I understand.
All right.
I understand. So, but what was lost in all of this today was GSD. And GSD is get stuff done. And as Chair of Public Safety of the Special Committee, also on Criminal Justice, I've come to realize that public safety means different things to different people, Mr. President. To the African-American young man coming home at 2 in the morning, public safety means the assurance that he is treated fairly and with respect and not unduly put in danger. To the police officer coming home from the shift at 2 in the morning, what it means is to be able to return safely to his family and loved ones at the end of that shift. Those are not conflicting issues. They are compatible issues. And what we have to do in this body is get stuff done. We need to provide reasonable solutions for real issues in our community. Reasonable solutions for real issues in our community. And I think you began that today by offering and co-sponsoring with me a bill that would provide a dedicated resource fund to the Police Advisory Committee. That during the past administration, I believe it was down to like $200 and something thousand. We have doubled that to $500,000 a year, not at the discretion of any administration, but at the responsibility of the charter. Providing get stuff done to deal with reasonable solutions to real problems in our community. I think it goes a long way to restore faith of this process to the community, because obviously, as exhibited today, there is that gap of trust. And I think that by doing these kinds of things, that we can do that. I call on my colleagues for sound minds, reasonable judgment to work together. We can't be one way too far and the other way too far, because we won't get 9 votes to do real solutions for real people facing our community. And it was tough listening to that stuff today. I saw your face, Maria. I saw you. But we have to be the grown-ups in the room that deal with what's really going on those streets to figure out how we can come to compromise. And I look forward to working with this body to do that. And so, help ain't coming from Washington. We'd be lucky if we get a budget from the state. So the real solutions don't always have to trickle down. They can trickle up from us. And I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues to do that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman, and we will continue to further the dialogue. I want to thank you for all your work, particularly around this particular issue, and other members. So more to come. Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Kiona Sanchez.
Thank you. As if our president can't divide this country anymore, right? The last couple of weeks, and I want to thank Councilman O and Councilwoman Helen Gim for their work on DACA, and this immigration discussion will continue. And that's why it's so important that this council, in its symbolic way, recognize Hispanic Month, Mexican Independence Day, and all the other celebrations that will take place to show you the value that these immigrants bring to this country during the tragedy, since we don't have global warming, in Harvey, Florida, and in the Caribbean and in Puerto Rico. Caribbean brothers and sisters got together. Puerto Rico was 24 hours finishing its crisis, and people loaded up yachts and went over to Barbuda and other places and took water and supplies. That's what we bring to the United States, those values about how we are in these boats together. And so I want to thank all of you for your support and remind my colleagues that this Monday we will do the Puerto Rican Week flag raising. Believe it or not, we have put together Todos para Puerto Rico, Todos PA, PR, and all of the Puerto Rican elected officials, don't laugh guys, all the Puerto Rican elected officials in the city of Philadelphia are playing nice in the sandbox on behalf of Puerto Rico, and we are collecting money and joining the government of Puerto Rico. There's 1 million people without electricity, 800,000 without water, and despite that, people are banding together and sending stuff and food and other things to their Caribbean brothers and sisters. So there's going to be a long recovery. It's an opportune time to talk about global warming. It's an opportune time to talk about federal relief and all those things. And that's the beauty of the United States of America, that kind of response. So 45, it ain't going to work. We're better than that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. I want to address what I read today in the newspaper, in the Inquirer and Daily News, that Philadelphia remains the poorest big city in the country. And with 400,000 people in poverty and 181,000 in deep poverty, 2 points I want to get across, one you're going to know about, which is the Earned Income Tax Credit. We continue to leave $100 million that could go to 40,000 people that would dramatically change their lives in this city and dramatically change these numbers. So whatever we can do to promote Earned Income Tax Credit, we need to do. Second, though, more long-term, I applaud the pre-K education, but I also feel we need to teach from kindergarten to 12th grade financial literacy. And has to be taught in every class. Right, so far, I've paid for 25 teachers in the public school system to take the courses at the Federal Reserve Board, where they're learning how to teach financial literacy, but we need to get the school district on board and teach this in the classes. Kids need to know these skills. It's very, very important to help them climb out and succeed. So I just want to make those 2 points. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with all that has been said. As recently as last night, we had our meeting with the Mayor's Commission on African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, and those from Antigua and Barbuda, that was all but destroyed. 90% of their whole residence, their whole island is just rubble. And we had the leaders of those organizations here, a part of our commission. So we submitted, everybody should have on their desk the things they're asking for that they told us last night and where they can contribute. We know that Bible Way is running buses now that they're asking for people so that they can contribute. We have so many places here in this country and even in Africa and the Caribbean and Cuba and many other places. So we thank you for all that we do, in spite of the fact that we are poor in many, many areas. I also want to say thank you for passing. We've been trying a couple of years to get more flags on the Parkway for those places that asked, so we just gave up and put in legislation, and we thank you for supporting it. Another thing I just have two more issues. One is the Days Off School Meals program that will come into effect as recently as next week, September 21st and 22nd. I will make sure I have 6 recreation centers. Remember, we passed this last year. This allows students to get a free lunch for the school year as part of the Days Off Meals program. Recreation provides the meals so that when schools are closed, children still receive their meals. There are 6 recreation centers in my area, and I will make sure I pass around the information that everybody else needs for their area so they can get it out to their groups. And finally, let me say a special thank you to all of you. You have been especially kind to me during the passing of my Thomas William Blackwell IV. God bless you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. That concludes our speeches, and the chair recognizes Councilwoman Reynolds Brown for a motion to adjourn.
Almost, Mr. President. Conclusion of speeches. I want to put 2 notes on the record. First, let me echo and underscore Councilman Jones' remarks. For your graceful authority and leadership, it mattered this morning, and it made a difference. Secondly, at the end of the day, as Councilman O well knows, it's art and culture that ultimately binds us and is the glue for having a civil society. So on that note, I want to, and as one of the first board members of the Philadelphia Anti-Graffiti Network under Mayor W. Wilson Goode, now known as Mural Arts, I would ask that all of us pay particular attention to the art exhibit and art installation across the street at the Municipal Services Building. It is unprecedented and really puts in your face what art can do. And then lastly, I too want to say a huge thank you to all my colleagues for supporting me during the passing of the matriarch of my family, Sadie Mae Tony Reynolds. And with that, I say that we move that council stand adjourned until Thursday, September 21st, 2017 at 10 a.m. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. It's been moved and probably second to council stand adjourned until Thursday, September 21st, 2017, 10 a.m. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. Thank you all very much.